In every human life, there is a flaw that, when not curtailed at the right time, could lead to disasters that will seize or impede the development of the human individual. Dearest viewer and listener, welcome to yet another episode of Life Spells, your motivational series with me, Nana Otupiri Darkoh. Now, pearl number 6. The only quality in a man that intimidates every woman on earth is the total and absolute control over the hunger for food and sex, even to the point where the duo cannot be used as tools to manipulate him. Yes, I take it again. The only quality in a man that intimidates every woman on earth is the total and absolute control over the hunger for food and sex, even to the point where the duo, which is the two, cannot be used as tools to manipulate him. Now I can see the women frown, whilst the men smile. Such is life. In our previous spell, we spoke about the quality of a woman which intimidates every man. And it is only fair for us to look at the quality in men that equally intimidates women. As I said in my introduction to this very episode, in every human being there is a flaw, a natural weakness that one is always born with. But the earlier one identifies this weakness or flaw and deals with it, makes conscious efforts to subdue or to overpower that weakness, the better for that individual. And the easiest way to do this is to identify your strength and try to sharpen that strength, to identify your talent and to sharpen that talent, to identify what is so unique about you and to sharpen that thing. The greater you get, the better you get in sharpening your innate potential, the more that potential overshadows your weakness. But to the male entity, one weakness that has destroyed many lives is our hunger and quest for food and sex. And the women are very much aware of this. A girl of 10 years, 11 years, 12 years today is very much aware that men are naturally weak when it comes to sex. Unfortunately, in the part of the world where I come from, an adage that has been held in so much high esteem is that the path to a man's heart is the stomach. And this puts men in a disposition where we seem to be much dependent on food for our strength and energy. Right from home, girls are treated differently from men. A parent with 2 children or more will always be much concerned about the male children's feeding than the female, especially in the teen ages, believing that the male child needs to feed well in order to build up that energy and strength that an average man requires. This particular disposition leads us into adulthood. When it comes to the quest for sex, it is almost in every man that a man cannot stand that simple temptation of a woman's sexuality. And many men have fallen. You can talk about Delilah, you can talk about Cleopatra, you can talk about Portia, and you can talk about Jezebel. In our world today, in our present dispensation, we have what we call slave queens. What do they do? Nudity is selling much more than any other thing in life today, because women, or majority of women, have come to understand that the weakest point of a man is their sexuality. So once they show their nudity, men, great men, successful men, leaders are likely to fall. I wouldn't want to give examples, but in my country today, in Ghana, the most popular saying around town is Papano. And it all has to do with a leader's inability to control his erection. Now let me say this. As a male species created, nature has given you so much potential, but this single weakness, this single flaw in you, which is natural, it is innate. Your inability to take full control over your erection, that is your quest and hunger for sex, will lead you into your doom. And the female species are very much aware of this. That is why the slave queens will always portray themselves half naked as a bait to catch your attention. No matter who you are, no matter how morally upright you are, as a male, once you see a woman's nudity, your first reaction is to look before your conscience tells you no, it is not right to do so. But even as you turn away from it, you realize that something inside of you is prompting you to go back and look again. And once you go looking, watching, your appetite for this nude woman or this naked woman begins to build up. Therefore, the few men or the few male species who succeed in developing themselves to have total control over their hunger for food and sex become terrors to women, because they know you are not easily overtaken, overpowered, or taken advantage of. Once you develop yourself to control that urge, you become a terror to majority of women, and they know it as I say it. All the things I am talking about in this episode are not things that we do not know. Every man knows that being weak, morally weak when it comes to your sexuality, if you allow your sex urge to outrun or overpower your reasoning, you will be heading towards doom. Yet, majority of very renowned and respected men still fall for it. Why? Because It is innate, it is natural. And one needs to make conscious efforts to overpower this. You be a gentleman. Be kind. Be caring. Be loving. Have a great sense of humor. Treat women well. Know their needs. All these qualities are qualities that the women enjoy. But the only quality in you that intimidates them is your total control over your quest or hunger for food and sex. Why do you think it intimidates them? Because that is your fallen point. That is your weakness. That is where they can easily overpower you. Just as when we men see women having the power to make their own decisions and they are independent-minded and they do not desire for easy access to material wealth, we become intimidated by that quality in them. They are equally intimidated when they realize that we cannot be baited by food and sex. I have already mentioned that girls as young as 10, 11, 12, even before they are teenage, are aware that men are weak when it comes to sexuality. Dearest viewer, my male brother, father, uncle, my male counterpart, this is where we need to treat ourselves of this ailment. It is a natural ailment in me, it is a natural ailment in you. And we are not mincing words here because we are making the efforts through life to learn these spells. I have already made mention of the fact that these are personal life principles that I have tried and tested over the years. And I am highly convinced that they work to perfection. And that is why I have the urge to share with you. It is not because I know too much more than anybody. No, with all humility, I come in here to share my life experience with those who want to learn. In this episode, as we are making progress through life, each day, each moment, one day at a time, I want us all to know as males that the only quality that will intimidate our female counterparts is our ability to control our quest, hunger for sex and food. And it is very important for us to start making daily efforts to get there. It is difficult, but once you consciously set your mind at it, consciously proclaiming it and telling yourself, I want to have control. I want to be in charge. I want to develop myself to the point where no female species can take advantage of me because of my quest and hunger for sex and food. You will get there. As I bring my message to an end, let me reiterate the quote again. I am saying that the only quality in a man, in you, the one watching me right now, that intimidates every woman that you have ever met and those that you are yet to meet on this earth, is the total and absolute control over your hunger for food and sex, even to the point where the two cannot be used as tools to manipulate you. See you at the end of the finish line as we journey on through Life Spells. The program has been Life Spells, and I am Nana Otupiri Darkoh.